This is the junction of the Crosier Mountain Trail and the Crosier Rainbow Trail. As usual, COTREX is in gray, overlaid on the OpenStreetMap tiles. And like a previous video, in this case, COTREX is very close to reality from the sources I've looked at. But the issue here is, again, with the Forest Service data. So if I turn that on, it appears in black, and indeed it has the Crosier Mountain Trail, but it is missing the Crosier Mountain Rainbow Trail or Crosier Rainbow Trail. I'm going to show you some photos, the first of which I took right around the junction here. You can see that this is an official looking sign. It's plastic, two-tone, yellow or tan lettering on brown background that says Crosier Rainbow Trail with an arrow, and that arrow is pointing more or less northerly direction here. Now the next photos I'm going to show you were taken near the trailhead. This is a sign right near the trailhead, just a couple feet after starting the trail, as Crosier Rainbow Trail number 981, strongly suggesting that it is an official trail. You don't have trail bandits putting up signs with trail numbers generally. This is another sign near the trailhead or at the trailhead, and while the top part there could be homemade, we have the official Carcinite sign attached to the leg of the other sign with what types of travel are allowed on this trail. You can see hiking, skiing, horseback riding, biking are allowed. And finally, another photo at the trailhead. Perhaps obviously, it says Crosier Mountain Trailhead Gravel Pit. So this is known as the Gravel Pit Trailhead, is also known as the Rainbow Trailhead. It's got two different names, not uncommon for something to have a name and an alternate name. Finally, I'll turn on the Strava heat map. This trail gets a lot of use. Going back down south here, and it's almost as much as the Crosier Mountain Trail gets. Of course, if you go past it, you're going towards the summit, so now you have the combined traffic from the Rainbow Trail and the Crosier Mountain Trail. Finally, I offer one additional piece of evidence, and that is this official webpage from the Forest Service. See, it says Crosier Mountain Rainbow 981, and I'll put the link in the video description if you want to check it out yourself. But it very much appears that this is an official trail. This is an official trailhead, and this should be in both the Forest Service data and COTREX. And of course it is currently in COTREX. The risk is that it'll be deleted when the new Forest Service data is ingested. This is the Crosier Mountain Trail and the Glen Haven Trailhead. This is the little town of Glen Haven. COTREX is in gray, overlaid on OpenStreetMap. I'll highlight the COTREX data to bring it to your attention. Now you can see that OpenStreetMap and COTREX agree fairly closely, and I'd say that is certainly good enough from a spatial standpoint. The issue here is if I click on this, and if you're using a traditional GIS, you'd call this identify, trail_NUM, presumably trail number 931. All right, fair enough. But here's a document from the Forest Service that I just accessed off the internet today. It's an official Forest Service document, and today is April 11th, 2023. Crosier Mountain Glen Haven Trail is 931-2. Crosier Mountain Garden Gate Trail is 931. And these are, if you're familiar with the Forest Service nomenclature, sometimes these are written 931 space 2, 931.2. There's a couple different ways of writing that, but it's 931 something 2, not simply 931. So back to our data, let's take a look at the data from the Forest Service. And I just downloaded this a couple days ago. Select it, your traditional GIS, you'd call that identify, trail_NO, presumably trail number, 931. So COTREX and the Forest Service GIS data agree, but both disagree with the documents published by the Forest Service online currently. The question then is where, if anywhere, in the GIS data from the Forest Service and from COTREX is Trail 931.2 or -2. And here is the H-Bar-G Ranch Trail. Of course, normally as a brand, that bar, B-A-R, would be an actual bar, hyphen like. All right, so Forest Service data, Trail No 931.2, and I can assure you that COTREX matches that, but let's take a look just to make sure. Trail NUM 931.2. So somehow in the Forest Service data, which obviously got translated into COTREX, Trail 931.2 was placed on the H-Bar-G Ranch Trail and not on the Crosier Mountain Trail. Now you might be saying, wait a minute, maybe this trail here, the so-called H-Bar-G Trail, really is 931.2. And there's just a little discrepancy as to whether that's the H-Bar-G Trail or the Crosier Mountain Glen Haven Trail. So let's click, and we're in COTREX here, the web app. Let's click on the Crosier Mountain Trail near Glen Haven, the one in question, and I'll click on the URL here, and you see by clicking on that link we're brought to an official U.S. Forest Service webpage that says Crosier Mountain Glen Haven 931-2. So I think that makes it quite clear that at least part of the Forest Service intends that trail that leaves Glen Haven and heads towards Crosier Mountain to be numbered 931-2 and not simply 931.